Pig, feature film debut of Michael Sarnowski starring Nicolas Cage. Now, before you shut this video off, hear me out. It's actually one of the good Nicolas Cage films. What's more is he himself is great in it, which is something that I want to start with actually. The current prevalent opinion on Nicolas Cage seems to be that he's a complete joke, he's a bad actor, and his name is a sure sign that the film is going to be garbage. But I think that's a very reductive take actually, and it comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of Cage by the audiences, and on the other hand, his mishandling by the movie directors. So, first of all, there is a very specific reason why Nicolas Cage never says no to a role, and it's that he's in a shitload of debt. Apparently, after he became a massive star back in the 90s, he would spend money on all sorts of ridiculous, expensive shit that he didn't really need. And at some point, he ended up being completely broke. So he had to start accepting every single offer, and when you do that, well, you will end up in a lot of terrible movies. There's no doubt about that. But Cage himself is also a very particular kind of actor where he doesn't seem to have an off switch. He's just always giving his 120%, and it often comes off as overacting because directors don't really know how to rein him in. I read a comparison once, and I think it came from someone inside Hollywood actually, which was that some actors are like sniper rifles, where you aim them and they're completely focused, and when you give them a target, they will always hit it from miles away, just do the thing that's needed. Whereas Cage, in this analogy, is the biggest machine gun ever. All you can do is just point him in a direction and he goes off. I think this is kind of an apt comparison, and to be clear, I do think that the machine gun approach does often mean that the performances are bad or they don't fit the movie, but sometimes you want that specific style. Sometimes you need Cage's unhinged insanity, and when he's used right, he can be a damned amazing actor. I mean, he won an Oscar for Leaving Las Vegas, and he was in a number of other great movies: Raising Arizona, Adaptation, Mandy, and now Pig. In this film, he plays Robin, an older guy who left society some years ago and became essentially a hermit. He lives in the woods in Oregon with his truffle pig. And once a week, a guy named Amir comes over to get the truffles that he finds in exchange for some basic supplies. Robin lives a simple life. No phone, no television, no contact with the outside world, until one day, some junkies kidnap his pig, and he, together with Amir, end up going to the city to try and find the animal and get it back. Sounds kind of ridiculous, I know, and after the first 20 minutes, I thought the film was gonna go the John Wick route, where Cage suddenly turns out to be some sort of mad retired assassin, and he'll just start wrecking fools for the remaining hour. But the movie is the complete opposite of that. It's very quiet and introspective throughout, and it doesn't feature a lot of action, instead exploring the themes of loss, and partly the loss of loved ones, but I think more importantly the loss of your dreams. Both Robin and the other characters that he encounters are not young anymore, and they've experienced a lot of stuff, but they've also, all of them also left a lot of their original dreams behind. For various reasons, they dropped what they once wanted to do and became someone else entirely. I think it was amazing to discover this film as it was unfolding, because it just keeps surprising you. Scene after scene, conversation after conversation. I think Cage is fantastic as the gruff, antisocial Robin. Alex Wolff serves as a really fantastic straight man who ends up being basically the actual protagonist of the film. The only person who can observe all these older people and take something away from that, learn something for himself so as not to repeat the same mistakes. And considering his first scenes establish him as a massive douchebag, I thought it was an amazing turnaround for how much I liked his character by the end. In general, I think that's the thing I enjoyed most about the film, how it took me on a journey that was not just interesting and thought-provoking, but most importantly unexpected in so many ways. Watching Pig was like a great adventure where you never know what's around the next corner, and when you think you've figured it out, the film once again does something new and fresh. I think it's just very good all around, and it certainly enters the list of not just memorable, but also genuinely good Nicolas Cage movies.